Hello, an evening, lockdown lepers, and welcome again to another broadcast, another exhibition, part 2 this week of Copy That. So you know what to expect. You see some of it last week, hopefully. Anyway, so you know the brief from before. Copy That is a reference to copy that, as in you've received whatever from a radio conversation, copy that because it's been printed. Anyway, let's see who's alive out there. I apparently am, so they tell me. I don't believe a word of it personally. But we've got a show again from all around the world tonight, or a couple of ways. Hello Deb, you alright lovely? And Ryan City. Well, just City actually. I hope it's just City, if not it's a problem. We've got another show from all around the world tonight. And so I apologise in advance for any of the mispronunciations or mispronunciations, thanks to the two Ronnies, of any names. I've got some real humdingers this week to get through, so it should be hilarious for everyone. I've got a mix of media again, from drawing to painting to sculpture to multimedia. I've tried to show an even mixture over the 3 exhibitions to keep it all a little bit varied. But anyway, I thought, because it's the May the 21st, I thought I'd wear my Vietnamese fighter pilot hat, which I just nicked off of my dead dog called Vince. So anyway, I thought I might spice the evening up a little bit. Anyway, off with the hat and on with the show. And just let me flip you over and we can begin. As always, first of all, cheers everyone. Private view, need a drink. Alright, I'm an idiot with some of these words tonight. Alright, off we go. Our first one is an absolutely immaculate drawing, pen drawing. It's lovely. She sent me 4 in, and they're all based around fetishes, and especially feet. And they are fantastic. They are so intricate and beautiful. They're really lovely. This is my favourite. The other 2 you could pick out and see, obviously what they were, the feet in it, but this didn't initially jump out. It kind of quite abstract. It took me a while to work out that I could work out it was probably a tongue and a hand, but it's actually licking the foot. And the whole fact that it took me a while to work it out just intrigued me, and that's the one I decided to have. Anyway, the artist is Anton Karyuk, and he's from, here we go, Dnipro, Ukraine, and lives and works in Kiev and Vilnius, Lithuania. In his artistic practice, Anton uses various mediums, from performance and installation to abstract painting. Since 2015, Anton has been developing his artistic practice by focusing on the topic of social relations in the world of modern media. The most significant works for the artist include the video Concert No. 1 for piano and orchestra in B flat minor, installation marginalisation. I just had a look out. I've got the window open tonight, and we've got a bit of an audience, so that they can go fuck off unless they want to pay to come in. Not being limited to museums and galleries, Anton's practice intervenes in the wider public spaces. Overall, the artist searches for an abstract visual language and minimalist execution, exploring personal and social sensitive topics. Anton has presented his works at personal and group exhibitions in Germany, France, Sweden, Norway, Lithuania, Poland, Turkey and Ukraine. The title of the piece is Cruelty Fresher, and his description of the artwork is: sometimes it is difficult to know when a person's passion and engagement with something fits within the definition of the norm. Almost everyone experiences certain stimuli provoking strong reactions, and nearly everyone has a predisposition to fetishistic interests. The origins of fetishism can be linked to religious practices. A German-Austrian psychiatrist and one of the founders of modern sexology, Kraft Ebing, stated there is an analogy between erotic and religious fetishism, which is expressed in feeling reaching ecstasy. After a while, the role of the object of adoration becomes even more significant, and its presence is the main condition for obtaining satisfaction. Sometimes a fetish becomes an independent object of attraction, replacing the object of love, completely gaining independence from the partner or owner of the thing. In this case, any emotional connection and love relationship with another person is disrupted. This is also a tendency to perceive objects of sexual fetishism as spiritualized. Since a sexual fetish is a tendency to perceive objects of sexual fetishism as associated with a person, and it is perceived as having a magical effect, providing the power of lust. Some scientists are still inclined to pathologise fetishism, whereas others do not see it as a sexual disorder. For example, an American psychologist D.M. Reinisch replaces the sexual fetish with the field of psychotherapy to the domain of anthropology and further to the sphere of aesthetics. In December 2018, the World Health Organization excluded sexual fetishism from the International Classification of Disillnesses. In this project, the artist studies the spectrum of sexual fetishes and its aesthetics components. And that is ink on paper, and it is 610mm by 430mm, drawn this year, and it's €200 in its original form. On to the next one. The next one, I actually know this man. It's Neil Ferguson. Now, Neil taught me in my MA at the London Metropolitan University, and he's solely responsible for me being a bit of an arsehole in the art world, I'm sure. He never said no to anything I wanted to do, which I'm really chuffed about. Hello, Yarrick. And he really helped us develop the Cuntists group, and it was brilliant, real good fella. So this is Neil Ferguson, and Neil's work focuses on structuring personal art systems that employ rules and strategies to track small thoughts and imagining. His practice uses extensive series of images to display a versatility of thinking in image production to promote systems of making that highlight internal detail in situations and objects. This serialisation of projects allows the obsessive nature of capturing almost things, and we thought, that's small thoughts, he's Scottish, so we let him have his wee. Have a nice wee, Neil. In promoting the activities of drawing, painting and placement and making art through things. Now, I've seen some of Neil's shows, and he does hundreds and hundreds of little tiny drawings. This is actually bigger than his normal size. They usually are about so big, like a playing card size, and there are hundreds of them everywhere, all over the gallery. But researching his history of that today, I come across some paintings he'd done back in '89, so long years before I knew him. One of them was Changing Circumstances. I loved it. His paintings were amazing, fantastic. Anyway, this is one of his little drawings, and it's Mapping the Caress, and it's 14 centimetres by 9.5 centimetres. It was drawn in 2007, and it's £30, and it's from a set of drawings for a proposed exhibition of 20,000 drawings. So that shows you just how many he does, and then exhibits. It's fantastic to watch, really good. Right, now we're on our third one. This is kind of, I like to get a little bit of sculpture, if I can, into the show, because it's such an alien thing having a 2D thing. This is sculpture. This is kind of, it's, they're all 3D objects, although not massively 3D, placed and presented on a canvas. This is by Mandy Gage, Mandy is a London-based artist and has been constructing mixed media sculptural work since the 80s, with her training in ceramics frequently visible in her work. Early pieces were figurative, but now her output is more abstract, composite and installation based. Layering and found objects appear as crucial fragments of history, creating a strong narrative element. An interest in science, particularly biology, led her to form the art and science group Hybrid. During this time, she was researching genetics and collaborating with two professors at the University College London in genetics and medical physics. The group ran for 10 years and had several exhibitions. Mandy spent most of her early years in nature and was fascinated with the details she found revealed under a microscope, and holds a deep connection with that natural world, in particular the very small unnoticed details of our ecosystem, the things dismissed as unimportant. The small underlying and hidden are themes that reoccur. Her work looks at current environmental issues, the extraordinary life in it and how we treat it. She has covered subjects such as extinction and habitat loss, as well as referring to political structures and the power of big businesses over land uses and destruction. Occasionally she makes something autobiographical from her own subconscious and enjoys discovering fragments both physical and psychological. Mandy generally constructs 3D objects and installations using a range of materials including clay, string, paper mache, plastic and repurposed items, but also paints and makes short films. Craft processes are used as a language within her work and are found as are found objects new and old. She says, "I feel there are important narratives in the processes of domestic craft and a sense of self-sufficiency. It feels valuable to connect past and present and project a sense of future. So I can see a timeline and sense to a point on which I stand." Now this piece is objects my cats bring in. So clearly it's obviously stuff that a cat's brought in, but beautifully arranged and displayed. And she says about her work, cats who have access to open or wild garden space will randomly collect metal objects on their magnetic collar key. I always wonder where they've been and where the bits came from. These discarded objects and random trash are, for me, given significance again. During lockdown, people with pets are probably feeling less lonely. The value pets have on affectionate companions really becomes apparent as people are missing human contact. And these are obviously bits and pieces that the cat's brought in. So there's all sorts of stuff there: screws, nails, hooks, paper clips. And they're all arranged on canvas, and it's 200 by 200 by 20 millimeters from 2019, and it's £80. Right. Next up we have a French lady. This is Alyssa Thor, and I love Alyssa's work. Such a fantastic painter. He really is great, and totally self-taught, which I only found out today when I researched her. I didn't know this, so I'm even more impressed. So Alyssa is self-taught. Is a self-taught artist who lives in Paris and works in Rouen, so I'm jealous straight away. For a long time, her intellectual and taking pleasure in handling abstractions. This is translated from French, so this could be a bit weird, especially with me reading it. I had the radical need to break off and confront myself directly with the material. Take life by the other end if you want. I love that saying, take life by the other end, that's fantastic. From then on, painting, and more particularly oil painting, was the ideal testing ground. Acting instinctively, finding your breath, your rhythm and your body. She's also a poet, by the way, as well. Where in poetry it is a question of refining here, it is necessary to stop in time, deleting or addition, make it palatable by adding or not allow. So it's more, you can lift and take from poetry. Here you're committed. Expressionism is naturally the movement that speaks the most. I have I went to see a couple of pieces of Alyssa's when she showed in London about 2 years ago, and I have briefly met her. I have briefly met her over in Paris at the Untitled Factory, the best gallery in Paris, I have to say, and probably my most favourite place on earth. I hope you like that, Jared. I hope you're still there. But it is my favourite place on earth, my favourite people. But yeah, I met her briefly there, and this is Alyssa Thor, and it's entitled Passing. It's oil on canvas, and it's done in 2015, and it's €400, the original. Right, on to the next one. This is Mia Jane Harris. I would imagine quite a lot of you know Mia and her work. She's exhibited around for many years, and we've both exhibited together. And so most people probably heard me talk about her. This is Mia Jane Harris, and this is what she sent me to describe. Harris's, because I'm Cockney, so no H love. Harris's work delves into the fantastically odd and morbidly beautiful. She aims to intrigue the viewer and pull them into her world with such strange objects and curious juxtapositions to manipulate their emotions on the topic of mortality, life, death and resurrection. Usually working predominantly as a sculptor, she gives a second life to vintage objects, road-killed animals and found junk materials in the hope that in return this artistic resurrection she gives them will help her live on through these creations when she is done. After studying fine art at Sitting Guilds of London Art School and University of East London, she has now been exhibiting internationally for 8 years. And Mia says of this piece, the piece is based off of a photograph Mia took inside a church in Rome that she visited 2 weeks before COVID-19 took over the city. Taken only a few hours before her flight home, it has now become the last travel photo she will take for the foreseeable future due to lockdown travel restrictions. However, she sees angels as a symbol of hope, and this image represents the light at the end of the tunnel and exciting opportunities to come post-COVID. The original of this piece has now been posted to Royal Free Hospital in London to be displayed in their ICU unit until the end of May. Or at the end of May. So that's Mia's, and there's a lovely colour representation of this on the website, as there is of all the others. Where it's appropriate, there are coloured versions up now on the site, so you can look at them in full colour. And they've all got links to, the people that sent me their links I've posted as well. Right, now we're on to our first street artist that I've had sent in. And this is Aparan. I think I'm hoping I've said that right. Hello, Catherine. Ain't seen you for a while. Hello, Mark. Hello, mate. Yeah, this stood out to me because I love flamingos. Travelling through the south of France a couple of years ago, I got to see some wild ones down by, I can't remember. Where was I? There's a big wild sort of kind of reserve there, and they're wonderful. They're not pink, obviously, in the wild. They're kind of just a white grey colour, but it's just amazing to watch. Absolutely fantastic. Oh, just outside Montpellier. That's right. Anyway, Aparan says of the work. Aparan is a London-based street artist from the Canary Islands. Their artwork deals with social issues such as environment, climate change and gender equality in her art. Her murals usually depict current women's issues and struggles as well as female empowerment. She's also a member of different art collectives in Spain and London. The artwork description, this illustration idea comes from a video that went viral on Twitter. And the video seemed to show two flamingos fighting. One flamingo has its beak placed on the other bird's head, which appears to be covered in blood. But they are not really fighting. The two flamingos are actually feeding a chick, and the blood or red liquid is actually crop milk. Parent flamingos produce crop milk in their digestive tracts, and regurgitate this fat-rich mixture to feed their young ones. I am using Japanese calligraphy on the side with the word flamingo, giving it a certain oriental art feel. I really love it. I think it's great. It just reminds me of being down in Montpellier. It's a beautiful place. Anyway, the title is Love Hurts. The Flamingos, Love Hurts. It's Molotow ink on paper. It's A4. The original price is £30 and it was done in April 2020. So you can check that one out on the site if you want. Now we've gone from Canary Islands and we're off to Netherlands now. I apologise in advance for my pronunciation, but this is Lasse van der Dickenberg, and Lasse is from the Netherlands, and in his figurative lino cuts and woodcuts he often addresses political and sociological topics. Art has the ability to make these complex issues accessible through the emotions which art can evoke. Other frequently recurring themes are dance and music. His work is influenced by Art Nouveau, Symbolism, Surrealism and pop art. I love graphic arts particularly because of the technical abilities and aspects, both the possibilities and the limitations of these techniques. But most importantly, I like it because graphic arts are in a sense democratic arts. Due to the fact that you can make artworks in series, these works are much more affordable, and I think that therefore they have the potential to reach a much wider and diverse public. I just love the simplicity of this. I fell in love with it as soon as I saw it, especially this little figure here. It's so cute. It's really nice. Obviously the muses speaks for itself, Greek influences and stuff like that. Anyway, he says of the artwork, this work is an homage to the arts. The work is a patchwork of homages. The work includes references to painting, music, architecture and history. The work, for example, includes a painting of Picasso's Peace, Dove and Dom Tower in Utrecht, printed in a limited edition of 10 original prints. It's called The Muses. It's lino cut on paper. The original size is 40 by 60 centimetres. The original date is 2019 and the original price is £100 if you would like one. I think that's adorable. Well, now we're on to full-on Bifta painting. I love this girl's work. It's Lara Kavanagh, and I met her, in my opinion, all too briefly. She was dropping work off at an exhibition that I was dropping off at. We had a very, very brief conversation about painting, but I'd love to talk to her again and get more in depth. She seemed very, very passionate and incisive about it. So, yeah, you'd like to see more of her stuff. It's really good. Anyway, if I remember rightly, I think she said she uses water-based oils, which was really intriguing to me because I use just ordinary oils, and her effect she gets are fantastic. Anyway, Lara is a UK-based artist. She brings elements of classic figurative painting to a contemporary platform. Her signature collections takes you through an enchanting journey into the eerie. Her subjects are isolated to a still frame with an emphasis on energy and mood, curating inventories of melancholic events, dim scenes and empty grounds. She employs fine detail and delicate hues, soft shadows that give into dramatic light, creating a theatrical and climactic narrative. Kavanagh appointed the term kuro, black from Japanese language, to outline her sombre palette. The artist feels the solemn shades reflect the ethereal qualities behind her work. Kavanagh has been exhibiting her art extensively in the UK and East Asia. Yes, there is a colour version of this on the website, on Facebook. But just check out her images; they are wonderful. This was hand painted during COVID-19 quarantine, and she says, it is her personal response to the quarantine. The paintings are produced in black and white and monochrome themes during the pandemic. They are slightly coloured though, I swear they are. A reflection of having to make do with whatever material we have at our disposal, and how making art is helping us get through these difficult times. This one's entitled Quarantine Diaries number 2. It's watercolour and gouache study on Fabriano paper, and it's 8 by 10 inches, 2020. It's £150 for a glitchy print. So check that out if you like it. It's beautiful, she's a great painter. This one I thought it jumped out at me. It's so sweet. I just want to colour it in. It's just such a lovely line. The pen line is beautiful. It reminds me of who was the illustrator that did St Julian's? Quentin Blake, possibly. I can't remember. I think it was Quentin Blake, and I loved it. It was just so sweet, and it really hit home. Obviously, it's got the Eiffel Towers that's in Paris, which did help, but I loved it. And it kind of reminded the 1960s illustrations as well. Anyone that knows me knows I'm a sucker for anything in the 60s, well, apart from people. Here we go, it's going to make everyone laugh. This is by, I hope I get her name somewhere right, Chao Bang Tuet. And she is from southern Vietnam, and she studied fine arts, crafts and designs at the National University of Tainan, Taiwan, and graduated with major ceramic design in May 2018. And had an oil painting exhibited at Chito Art Gallery in Tainan City, Taiwan. The artwork is drawn on a rainy day at a cafe shop with pencil and line art pen on paper. When I have no idea what to make of art, when I think about my memory of studio in France one day. So basically it's her memories of living in France at a studio, which is so cute, so sweet. I love it. It's really nice. It's titled Art Studio, and it's, as I said, it's pen and line art pencil on paper. It's 24 centimetres by 19 centimetres, and the original was done last year, 2019. Alright, and now we're on to, I can't remember where this lady, this person comes from. Nope, can't remember. But again, this is, there's 2 together here, I placed them together. Hello, Joe. Drawings, like sketchbook drawings, which I adore artist sketchbooks. I love them. I've probably got nearly enough to build my own house with. Well, I did have. I got rid of quite a few, but yeah, I love them. I love the diaries, the journals, the artist journals are brilliant. Anyway, this is by an artist called Silke Barkman, and Silke artist statement is. The drawings are cave-like organic systems, nocturnal animals such as the spring hare or animals living in the Earth's interior, such as the naked mole rat, which merge with humans develop into fantastic and narrative dream scenarios, which touch deeply through their strange political figurization and context. In her work, she deals with the hidden. She allows us a glimpse into an in-between realm populated by stumpy worm-like unreal beings, that's like living around here, who are neither organ nor individual. It's definitely like living around here. The cave-like habitat of Barkman's intermediate being moves between reality and dream. Velvet-like liver or flesh-coloured floors are combined with furniture from the normal human living environment. The scenery is often illuminated by the crystalline brightness of a chandelier, which forms an exciting contrast to the world of the organs, which is vital but also perceived as repulsive. I absolutely love that term she wrote, velvet-like liver. Oh, that is amazing, I love it. It's great. In order to prevent her pictorial worlds, the artist resorts to the method of écriture, automatic drawing, allowing us a glimpse into her inner self, which is at the same time an offer to deal with the hidden or repressed aspects of our own self. What really drew me to this was it's actually done on handmade paper. Bit of a sucker for handmade paper, I must admit. They're lovely. And I can just imagine, just want to touch this and feel it. I can imagine how delicate and lovely it is to touch. Anyway, the artwork description is, The submitted work is part of her latest drawing project, the sketchbook project of 2020, in which I draw individual pages from my own old sketchbooks on handmade paper. Currently the series comprises of about 20 works. The making of drawings is my daily artistic practice in the studio, besides the creation of oil paintings. The drawings in the sketchbook reflect the process in which I am constantly searching while painting and exploring out new ideas. This is sketchbook project number 2008 to 2009, page 93, 2020. It's 21 by 15 centimetres, black ink on handmade paper, and it's €100. Oh yeah, that's lovely. Now on to multimedia, or digital, I believe. Something different again. I like to have as many different things as we can. And this is by an artist called Onyx Fix. I hope that's right. And Onyx creates surrealistic digital collages heavily inspired by Gothic art, internet subculture, nihilistic tendencies, a sense of dread, and a hint of nostalgia. Thematically, you'll see scenes of death, loneliness, longing of the past, and mental health. My goal is to immerse you in this by showing a world created in my head, the visual representations of mental health in the form of a planetary structure. That's quite interesting. And he says of the work, look into the screen. I feel this piece explores someone who is painfully trying to create something of themselves but feels overwhelmed. I think we can all relate to that right now. As with all my pieces, I focus on my current state of mind, listen to music, and just create what came to me at the time. This is obviously a digital collage, 4,000 times 4,000 times 1,000 ppi. Oh, me being an old man, no idea what that is. This was done on 27th of the 1st, 20, and it's £50 for any prints. So there you go. Right now, oh, a couple of dead flies there for you, for my collection later. I should have cleaned them up really, I suppose. I need a quick drink for the next one. Oh, cheers, that's lovely. Right, the next one is, oh, it's a pile of shite this is. This is Ra and Seti. You've probably heard of them, a couple of twats, or one of them. Unfortunately, he's a dead twat, the other one's a very much living mega twat. But, yeah, as you guessed, I probably know. Yeah, anyway, this is Ra and Seti. And they sent me a couple of pieces, and this was just so simple and lovely, and for some reason I thought it was a bloke with a huge cock, as I know them quite well. I was surprised when it wasn't. Well, it probably is, and they've just lied about the title. But anyway, Ra and Seti say this about themselves. We have a penchant for dark humour. Our assemblages speak of taboo subjects not commonplace within the sphere of contemporary and modern art gallery scene. We often can't be asked to go to our own private viewing nights, and sometimes the whole exhibition. We have a diverse portfolio of work, including installation, sculpture, oil painting and watercolour artwork, and some that we really can't describe. And this is Naked Bird with Bong, and it's ink on paper, 2018, and it's 290 quid if you want it. So that's Ra and Seti, and yeah, we might. There's a good chance that I will be having, if it's all right, if I can sort it out with Mr. Seti, having a solo exhibition of their stuff here when we're allowed to actually see each other. Not that I particularly want to see him, but there you go. I suppose I'll have to at some point. But anyway, I know you're listening, Seti, so hopefully we'll get a solo exhibition of your stuff in. And if you disagree, I know where you live. Anyway, right, we're on to our last one now. And it's time to laugh at me for my pronunciation again. This is a lady painter, and believe me, that painting is really lovely. The colours are gorgeous. Have a look on our Facebook. Her name is Zana Slanova, and she's a painter from Almaty, Kazakhstan, and he's a member of the International Women of Independent Artists Fund. This is a selfie with a mirror, oil on canvas, 80x70, and it's €500. But I'm a sucker for decent painting, and this really is a simplistic, nice painting, very like Cézanne, I feel. And of course, you're not going to get much better than Cézanne as a painter, are you? Especially for modern painters. But that's it for copy that, part 2, part 2. I'll give you a little show around. So I hope you liked it. And I'd like to thank everyone that sent me some nice comments from last week. All one of you. I'm joking. I actually got quite a few, and it was lovely. It made me feel like I was doing something. So yeah, there we go. This is all right. There we go. And great outdoors. I don't know what it's like. Apparently it's still there. There we go. Right. Time for wine and rewind. Wine and wind down, that's it. I always get that wrong. Alright, hang on a minute. I'll just flip you over so I can see you from the front. I'm sorry about you have to look at me. Sorry about that. Anyway, well, thanks for coming and watching again. I had some notes on there. Hang on a minute. I had some notes about some other shit coming up. I mean, some great exhibitions coming up. Alright. Well, I was only going to do this lockdown thing, and whilst we was all shut down and isolated, but now they're starting to lift it a bit. I was, thinking of maybe hello Jenny. Oh, went away there. There we go. I was thinking about maybe easing it, shutting it down, but after looking at the local gatherings and stuff that have been happening around here, and also stuff on the news, I'm quite expecting a full-on second spike that'll come, which means we'll be locked down again. So I'll probably just keep it running. I mean, I for one don't want to be near people yet, that's for certain, especially without a mask or gloves, and definitely not in an enclosed building. I don't think I'd be happy with that until they supply a vaccine, but still, never mind. Therefore, I'll keep the gallery going longer, and obviously we've got to copy that part 3 next week, 28th. And also this week I'm going to be putting out another artist call, and I will put on another show. I might have a week off or a week bladder, one or the other. And the next call out will be for the one I mentioned last week, answers on the back of an envelope, which will obviously is going to be, if you look in a dictionary of, so my phone's ringing, who's phoning me? They should all be watching me on here, cheeky bastards. Anyway, the answer on the back of the envelope, back to the real world, non-real world, wherever I am. Answer on the back of an envelope is going to be an exhibition which obviously you send in work on the back of an envelope, so second class stamp, that's all it's going to get you. And the definition in the Oxford Dictionary is back of an envelope is a brief summary or calculation to solve a problem. So what we're going to do is answer on the back of a postcard on how the hell we're going to get back to normal, or not who wants to get back to normal and stuff like that. How do we solve where we've got to now? I mean, this is the closest we're going to ever get to a bit of a new start for most of us, and also possibly new arrangements of society, new systems or whatever, I don't know. All the crap will be on the invites and things. So that's going to go out this week, or this weekend, if I stay sober enough, which is doubtful. Yeah, so that's that. So we've got copy that part 3 next week, and it's another load of people from all over the world. I know we've got someone from France. I might wear me berry if you're lucky. I've got a Brazilian lady. You know who you are, you're watching. Who else have we got in it? Oh, fuck me. Yeah, you might want to give it a miss. We've got some bloke called Jeff in it. Oh, dear, Jeff Cotton. Jeez. Anyway, in all seriousness, it's quite good laugh. It's a nice piece of work as well, he sent in. But anyway, so that's that for this week. I am now going to contemplate whether, I don't know, whether shenanigans are a Gaelic breed of shitty nanny goats, and look at 1970s porn to see what all the fuzz is about. See what I did there. Anyway, hopefully I'll catch you all next week. Now go away and, well, leave me alone. Bye bye.